Hello, and welcome to Behind the Screen, a Game Master's Guide. This is a show where I take you behind my Game Master screen and I share some of my favorite tips, tricks, tools, and toys that I'm using to become a better Game Master. My name is Tom Tobar, and today's topic is Campaign Note-Keeping, Part 2, a closer look. Last time on Behind the Screen, I showed you how I like to organize my Game Master notes. In this episode, I plan to pull back the curtain and reveal to you its inner workings. Currently, I'm running a game called The Knights of Elderhold, which is a homebrew campaign. We've been playing this campaign for 1 year, 4 months, and 11 days so far. For this episode, I'll be sharing my Game Master notes from this adventure. Because the campaign is currently active and we're currently playing it, I will not be showing you every little detail of these campaign notes, but with 1.5 years of campaign episodes ready for you, I doubt that this will be a problem. If you'd like to see the game in action, feel free to join us on the YouTube live play every Wednesday at 6:45. You can also check out our past episodes with a link right over here. Keep in mind, this channel is continuing to grow and learn from our mistakes. Even the past few episodes of Behind the Screen have improved dramatically. I say this because some of our early episodes of The Knights of Elderhold were quite rough. One day I'll make a video on how we're improving our gameplay in our live stream. For today, let's go ahead and focus in on the campaign note-keeping. In my last episode, I made a statement. Where you keep your campaign notes is just as important is how you organize them. In that episode, I stressed the need for a digital note-keeping system. Well, let's get started by showing you what program that I use to keep myself organized. As you can see, I'm using the Microsoft program OneNote. Here are a few of the reasons why I believe that OneNote is one of the absolute best softwares that you can use for your Game Master notes. Number one, it's free. That's right, free. OneNote is part of the Microsoft Office suite, but as of this recording, it is also available for free as a standalone app. All you need to do is go to www.onenote.com/download. Believe me, once you start using this software, you'll never want to use anything else. Another reason to use this software is because it syncs on multiple devices. When I like to write my Game Master notes, I don't like to be tied to my desktop computer. Because OneNote is available on multiple devices and it syncs between them, it is easy to write my notes wherever I need to. I can write it on my phone, I can write it on my computer, I can write it on my wife's computer. Even on my Amazon Fire tablet, I can get to my notes. It doesn't matter. As long as I'm able to access the internet, I'm able to access my Game Master notes. Next, it's easy to organize. OneNote is powerful because of the way it's organized. At the top of the screen, you're going to find that they have these tabs that are very colorful. On the side, you're going to see that they have pages. And each one of these pages can be put into a subpage. In my last video, I shared that I organize my notes in the following format. Large units of information, followed by topics of information, followed by subtopics of information. With OneNote, this is easily done. As you can see, there are these tabs at the very top that hold my large units of information. Then I can use these side sections called pages as my topics of information and my subtopics of information. The great thing about OneNote is that I can rearrange my OneNote however I need. So for example, if I need this tab to be a little closer up to the front, just grab and pull, and there it is, ready for me to use. The same thing is true of the pages. I can easily grab that information and move it to wherever it is I need. Keeping your Game Master notes clean and organized is one of the highest priorities of Game Master notes, and OneNote makes that easy. OneNote is easily searchable. Let me share with you one of my new favorite features that I just put into my Game Master notes that is really going to illustrate why this is such a powerful feature. So let's just assume you're in the middle of a battle with one of your players. Then your player says, I would like to cast the spell Mind Spike. Well, hold on. Isn't that a concentration spell? Well, I don't know, they say. And now you have to stop everything, start looking through the book or searching online to find the spell and figure out if this is a concentration spell or not. Now, let me go ahead and show you what I can do with OneNote. All I have to do is type in quotes, type in what I'm looking for, Mind Spike, end quotes, and I hit enter. And boom, immediately it pops up. And here it is, concentration for up to 1 hour. Gives me the exact information that I need when I need it. Not only that, but in this case, I have a little click here that can give you more information on that specific spell as well. You must be asking yourself, how did this work? Is this some kind of a special patch? An extra feature hidden behind some kind of a paywall? Did I enter in all this information by hand? It must have been taking me days to complete. Well, I'll tell you, as soon as you like this video and subscribe to our channel. Otherwise, you may never find out. I'll give you a moment. Did you do it yet? Are you sure? Okay. I'm trusting you to only continue if you've liked this video and subscribed to the channel. All right, here's how I did it. There are many websites that have many spells available online. Here is a website that I've used that has every spell available for 5e. Here comes the magic. Are you ready? Copy, paste, done. You can do this with any kind of information that you need. Just copy and paste away. You see? Aren't you glad you liked and subscribed? Okay, now that I've sold you on OneNote as your Game Master tool of choice, let's go ahead and delve into my actual notes so you can see what it is that I actually do and how I fill up my pages. As you can see, I'm once again behind my Game Master screen. I'm going to go ahead and open up my OneNote here and show you all the different ways in which I organize my notes. So again, here is the overview of how I do this section. So I have my Game Master tools, I have players book information, Game Master book information, as well as a few different websites and things that I use on a daily basis for my games. So let's go ahead and dive into those things. First off, here at the top is Game Master Tools tab. And over here are a bunch of my websites. Now don't worry, I'm going to go ahead and have all these things in the description of this video so you don't have to write it out as quick as you can while we're on this page. But this is how I arrange my information. Here are some great tools that I have. So for example, I'm going to go and pull this one up for myself. This is one that I use all the time and I grab large amounts of just rules and basic information. So for example, combat information, how does exhaustion work? This is one of those things we often forget about, different levels of exhaustion and what are the effects for the players. Tons of information to cover. The person who built this website did a fantastic job. Very thorough. I highly suggest you check this one out. And again, everything that you copy and paste, any there's links and things like that in the page, these will copy over into your notes as well. Great website. The next one over here, Magic Shops. I love this site. I definitely use this all the time, specifically when my players are going shopping. Let's just say your player wants to find something in particular. So for example, Oath Bow. Oh, I just start Oath. There it is, Oath Bow. As you can see, the price tag shows up. It shows me how rare this item is, what it is, a weapon, how it's used in combat. And here's something else that's really interesting. If I'm inside, say, a dwarven city, well, an Oath Bow seems like it's made for elves. So what would happen if I'm selling an elvish weapon inside of a dwarven city? Well, they're going to mark up the price, aren't they? Well, that's what this little bar up here is for. It's for markups and discounts. And I can say, you know what? Dwarves like to make a profit. They want a 200% increase because of, all the travel and everything else. And of course, they'll polish the item as well. And now that price is now up to 10,000 gold pieces. This is fantastic. I use this all the time to look up quick things for my players. This website is not just used for this, however. It has a lot of other things in here too. A magic shop. Yeah, a bunch of ads. This is really fantastic. If I want to just throw a lot of information at my players and say, here's the shop that's available for you, here's how I do that. I figure out what kind of a place I'm sitting in. So I'm sitting in a large town. Fills in this information for me really quickly, just kind of random generators. And then I come down here and I say, do I want to add some health potions? Absolutely. Generate shop. And boom, I have a shop. There it is. Here's everything that particular shop has and is available for you. Not very much. It's a smaller shop, but it gives you the prices, the rarity, what those pieces are, and you can click on any one of these pieces. It gives you more information. This is fantastic. And again, you have your markup here as well. You know, it just depends on where you're at. If I go to a large city and I hit down here, I want to add some potions, and I hit generate. Now I've got a number of items I can show to my players. What's great about this is that for me, my players are all on a Discord. We can all share information back and forth. All I have to do is just copy this information, paste it over there into the Discord, and my players can just peruse while I'm making up interesting shop owners, talking to them about different pieces going on in the storylines, and I don't have to waste my time with filling in the store with individual items. Fantastic website. And of course, there's other things in here too. There's this thing about if you run into a spell book and your players are always saying, hey, what spells are inside that spell book? Well, you can actually click this. It'll make something for you. Teleportation circles is a fun one. I'll let you look at that on your own. Different kind of calculators like travel, going from one place to another. How long is it going to take you? How many days? How fast are you going? The disadvantages and advantages of going at different speeds. Different costs and things. This is a fantastic website. I cannot recommend this one highly enough. Definitely check it out. Here's another one that I have on hand as well. That's 5e Tools. This is one I have for when the players have just gotten into a battle. They defeated some foes. Okay, what kind of loot are they going to end up with? Okay, so I can go over here to the loot tables. Over here is the different tables that are in the Dungeon Master's Handbook. And you can each one of these is like a different level of rarity, right? So if I say it's a smaller kind of a rarity, then I can just do a quick roll. And this is what that person had on them. Oh, you know what? I don't really care for this specific item. No one's going to be using it. It's kind of not really appropriate for the person that they just, battled with. I'll try it again. Oh, you know what? They have a potion of greater healing instead. Or I can raise up the level of difficulty and say, oh, well, now this person is a magical table level F. Well, now they have this one, a weapon of warning. Oh, you know what? That's a little too much. I'm going to change that. You know what? A +1 weapon. This one is a mace. And so, yeah, so this is really fantastic. You could even go up so high as having like a horde, dragon horde, the different type of animal or the level of animal that you're going for. Prefer magical items? I'll leave that one off right now. As soon as I hit roll, there's all the information that's inside this horde. Again, copy, paste this in Discord, and then all your players can just peruse it when they want to and have some time with it. If they're really in this story and they are, finding all these things, it's going to take them time to decide who gets what and that kind of thing. And a lot of that stuff can happen outside of the game. They can discuss this while they're, at work or something. I don't know. Or, sitting down, not doing anything, have some time. They can sit there and look through the items and say, hey, group, I really want to have this Dust of Disappearance. That seems pretty cool. I'd really like to have that. And again, links are all included. Great website to use. Check it out. There's more things in here as well. These are just my favorite pieces. Donjon. Everybody who's played with Dungeons and Dragons and is a Dungeon Master knows about Donjon. Fantastic tools. I'm not going to go through them all here. There's a lot of stuff. Just check this whole thing out. I mean, just tons of stuff. Random generators for names, places, things, treasures, all kind of stuff. Peruse at your convenience. Definitely check that out. I also have some things here just in case I want to have some quick, click the button, get there. I need to come up with a name quick. It's not going to be Steve this time. I'm going to go and click these buttons. And here you go. I can have that. Maps. Here's one that's kind of a cool one. If you like to draw your own maps on mats for your players, this is a great thing to give you some inspiration. This is a seed generator. So basically I say, what kind of a map do I want to have? This is for if you want to print it off for whatever reason. classic blue. I want the map to be medium size. Sounds good. And yeah, special rooms. I'm gonna have some special rooms there. Hit generate, and just like that. Ooh, classic blue is kind of ugly. Let's change that. Generate again. There you go. Click of a button. You have something to throw onto a mat. Obviously, you're not going to be able to get all this onto one mat at one time, but then you won't have to worry about losing track. And you can save this as an image, keep it on your computer, and then you have it whenever you need to and come back to it. You write yourself notes, all that kind of stuff. Great, great tool, especially if you use those mats and things. This is a fun one, magical cards. If you have like a special magical item that's super special to you and special to the players, and you want to give them like a little card or something, you can fill in the information here. It'll populate onto the little parchment paper. They have one for Dwarven, Elven, all that kind of stuff. It makes a little card for them, and they can actually print it off. Kind of fun. Here's another one that I think is really super helpful. Because my players are leveling up pretty quickly, they're over at level 14 at this point, and I want them to go and face some vampires. Well, vampires only go up to a certain CR level. I want them to be a higher level than that. And so I have to sit there as a dungeon master and start tweaking the character sheets, or the monsters sheet, in order to make it the correct difficulty level for my players. This one does not a bad job, but it gives you a ballpark of where things should start off with. So let's go ahead and check things out. Let's type vampires. Vampires right here. Right now it's telling me a vampire is currently a 13th CR level. This is how much experience that individual monster gets if they defeat them, if you're using experience points, that is. And here's all the information as far as the character sheet. Great. But you know what? This is a really awesome, big, bad, evil vampire. I say I want to change it to level 20. I say go, and it changes a lot of the information inside the sheet for me. Again, it's not perfect. I mean, obviously there's some coding errors and things like that in there, but it does a lot of great things for me. So for example, what is the to hit? That changed. What are the dice that it's going to use to calculate some damage for me? All this changes in here, and at least gives me a ballpark so that I can make some tweaks from here and then really customize those enemies and combatant environments. Great, great tool. It's the only one that I know of. It's a great tool to have on hand. And again, things that I like to have on hand that I can easily search, I have here on the side. So the basic items, I have magical shops. These are the ones I just showed you earlier. For my players, if they want to make a magical item, it's going to cost them 1d4 per 1,000 gold. That gives me how many days they're going to be working on this specific project. And the actual cost of it's going to end up becoming half of the cost of the actual item at full price. So yeah, different things like that. This is a homebrew thing that I have for my players. I don't want to forget about it, so I put it here. Condition effects are always fun. I always forget about specific effects and some of their impacts on the players and things like that. Is it a dexterity or saving throw, things like that. Again, I can just type in paralyzed in parentheses, and it'll pull up this section for me immediately. I don't have to go searching for it by hand the old-fashioned way. I can just search and get it. And obviously, I showed you the magic. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. And again, all I gotta do is click on any of these things, and immediately it takes me to that website and gives me more information about every one of these specific spells. Great, great, great tool to have. Damage types, all that kind of stuff. So that there is my Game Master tools that I like to use on a regular basis. You can see why it is so useful and great to have on hand. I'm going to skip character information for the moment, and I'm going to go ahead and jump over to my locations. If you look over here, it says specific location information. I like to have important history of the locations, some facts and things about it, some NPCs, a special page just for that, and then, of course, my session notes and other kind of notes I might need. So let's go ahead and look at Donberry. Donberry is a place that my players are currently inside, and so I'm not going to show you all the different things about Donberry, but this gives you an idea of the types of information that I have inside of my locations. So I have some clip art that I found on internet. It gives me an idea of what kind of a feel I'm going for this town. And then, again, you can just copy and paste these guys in here, wherever you need. So Donberry is very wealthy. It's a metropolis, very prestigious, underground. It's a common place for old gangsters to retire here. It's a fun little place, right? Then I go into a little detail about some of the things that are going on in the town. So the police force is under the control of this specific family. They were once black market arms dealers, and now they are running the police. Thieves Guild has the Quick Knife family. That's not really their full name or the real name. That's just a special name they like to have for themselves. But they do thieves outside. They handle the thieving guilds of things going on outside the city. Here's some other names in case I need them of different families, regular gangster families. And then I get into my story pieces. The Billy family moved into town 30 years ago. They are the vampire New Bloods, and they do agriculture, farming. What do they farm? Well, they're vampires. They're farming blood. Fun stuff. Lord Ironmore was killed 3 years ago. Again, having dates and things like this written down really helps out so you don't get tripped up and have some of those paradoxes that I was telling you about in my last video. Great war between the two houses. Things are going on. The Billy family lives in a modest town or a modest mansion in the middle of a middle-class town. They're in the middle class and lower area of town because that's where all the food is. The great houses are getting anxious to do all the missing people in the slums. So yeah, this gives me a really good idea of what's happening and what has happened in the city before my players even get there. If we look over here on the side, you can see I have individual cards about the specific family, so I can go into even more detail about the names of specific people. I can go into like a little bit more about their histories, why they're there, why they do certain things like that. It's all here on the sides. I'm not going to open up any of this because my players are currently there. But I will show you my arc notes. This is specifically to this town. As you can see, my dates on here, the number of episodes, what I call that episode. I've already shown this example in my previous video, but this gives you an idea of what my notes look like. In this specific case, I knew my players started off in the sewers. And so I was able to go into a lot of detail about what they were going to encounter because I knew they were already going to be in there. If you look at my next notes here, they only have 4 bullets. The reason is because my players ended up in a spot where I couldn't predict where they were going to head in the next episode. So I really heavily had to rely on the history of the location as a DM so that I could figure out how to prepare for myself. And so I would just take notes and I would have to react on the fly in order to keep my campaign moving forward. But again, because I knew the history of the location, I already knew the families. When my players decided to go to the mansion when I wasn't expecting it, I was already kind of prepared. I kind of already knew it was going to be there. So yeah, arcs, that's all it goes there. And here's my NPCs. I've actually taken off a few of my NPC names because I don't want my players to see them yet because they haven't met them. So I actually deleted a few of them just for this video. But here's what I usually do. Here are the 3 people that they already know. They've already met this person. They've met this person. They've met that person. Here are a few extra names if they need to talk to some rat folk. Rat folk names are hard to come up with. And so I have a few of them on hand, ready to go. So the next time they say, hey, Rat, what's your name? I don't go, Steve. I actually give him a real name now. This one's called Seek. Seek's an awesome name. I also have this bit of information. This is kind of cool. My player has a backstory that includes a lot of other players that she's been with. And so she's looking for these people. And so she's going to run into this person. And so I need to know that person's name. I need to know that person's history from my player's backstory. So I copied it from their backstory here so I can reference it easily and quickly. I'm already looking at names here. Having this name in 2 places is not that big of a deal as long as I can get to that information quickly. Let's go ahead and look at another location and show you the difference between these. This one is the Blackburn Castle. My players have already been here, so I can go into a little bit more detail onto what kind of information I put in here. Again, I have some clip art, gives me a feel for the town, and, oh, there's a picture of somebody. As soon as I click on Blackburn, I immediately remember, oh, that's right, Mind Flayers. Here it is, history of the location. Blackburn is a small port city, still under the control of the Kingdom of Elderhold. Once this land was a part of its own kingdom, however, the Lich King took control of it when a rare mineral was found. Mithril was discovered underneath the castle. King took over, mined up all the mithril. There's still gold under there, and there's some now like tunnels underneath the main castle. And not very many people know. Only a handful of individuals are aware of the slaves' presence in the mines, and no one from Elderhold is cognizant of this fact. So a little notes to myself about what the history of that location is, why there's mines underneath the city, and then I go into some other details. My player at the time's name was Vecule. Vecule has some ties to this specific town. And so I wrote some of these things down along with some additional facts I didn't want to forget. So here's some details about that as to things I didn't want to forget about when I was going into this town. And you can read that if you like. Moving on. If I click on this one here, these are my plot points. Pieces of details that are going to happen inside this location, right? Not just Blackburn itself, but more interestingly, the mine underneath. So, Great Merchant has magically trapped all the mine flares to a few miles of the Blackburn city. The population is dwindling. Still stuck in one place. There's very low amount of brains they can eat. So they had to do population control. Different details like this as to why certain things are happening and why my players are running into certain things. This is a great little bulleted point so I can always remind myself, okay, this is what the reason is of me choosing these routes. This specific episode was done back in October of 22. You can see having these notes is really helpful because I can't remember what happened in October 22. That was a long time ago. And so having these notes here reminds me of different people. So Manera, that was an important person. She's a gypsy. She had a son named Jed. Elderbrain Tadpole's in there. Yes, a lot of great information, right? Now, Mind Flayers are fun because they have a lot of different things going on with them. They have their own histories by themselves. They have lots of specific details about themselves that are really interesting. And so I wrote down a lot of this information. So Mind Flayers, here's a Mind Flayer thing I got from the internet. Here's some more pieces about Mind Flayers I thought I might need just in case. Different kind of a stat block. An Elderbrain Dragon, so I wouldn't forget because they did run into this one. Great stuff. Intellect Devourers. These guys are so much fun. Just got to tell you. Anyways, and then of course I have my names. Because they were going underground, the names weren't very many. I had Queb, who was, again, that same player, was running into more of her buddies. She found her buddy Queb down in the mines. And then here's some more people that I knew that were going to become important. Stuart's name was Ellis. Melanie was an Intellect Devourer. She was a lot of fun. Gotta tell you, that was great. If you can go back and look at that episode, holy cow, it was great. Anyways, moving on. Manera's a gypsy. Manera's son is Jed. Basically, those are the only people they found inside this town. And then, of course, I can have some notes for myself about the actual arcs and then the quests, the specific things that happen on those days in my campaign, so I didn't forget what's going on there too. So this gives you some good ideas as to how to organize your information on your page. Now let's go ahead. We've covered two of those. Now let's jump over into the character information. Here I have my players, because character information takes up a lot of space. Players does not. I like to have the character sheet. Well, for me, I don't use character sheets inside of my OneNote. What I do is I use D&D Beyond. And I have all my players build their characters on D&D Beyond, and I can access them as their Dungeon Master at any time I need. I can go in there and put things in. I can take things out. I can access it really quickly, see what their hit points are currently at in the middle of battles. D&D Beyond is a great, great tool to use. I really wish Dungeons & Dragons would put more effort into it, because it really is a spectacular website. Anyways, moving on. So I don't have this in my OneNote, but what I do have is the backstory that my players gave me. I also have names, quickly access names, and then I have my own personal backstory that I add onto theirs so that it rounds them out, and it also puts them in the world that they are going to inhabit. I'm going to go and show you this right now. So, first off, let's go ahead and look at one of my old players. So here's an old player that I had for this campaign, and here is what they gave me. Again, this is the very, very first day that they were going to come and play at my table. This person wanted to play a tabaxi, who's a thief. He told me a little bit about how he became a thief, about his parents dying. Of course, as a D&D player, all the parents die. Anyways, just gives me some basic information. This is what he gave me about his player that he wanted to play, or his character that he wanted to play. Then I gave them a primer to my story. Basically, what I told them is that some history about Elderhold as a whole, and their adventure is they've been called up to the castle by a patron. It actually was an elder of Elderhold, that they've done work for before, and they've been called up. They don't really know why they've been called up, and so he took this information about the primer that I gave him. There's the King's Search Festival. It's Easter. The King's Search Festival is going on. There's a prize involved. He's excited. He wants to go and check it out. He wants to go and do it. He's a little worried. He's not going to be able to go and search for the King's crown and all that kind of stuff. And so he's a little bummed. He's got to go up there and talk to the elder about what's going on. This right here is definitely enough to start your campaign. But I like to take things a step further. This is what he wrote, and here is my story that I added to his. As you can see, it went into a lot of detail. And I'm going to go ahead and read through this because it's so much fun. Now, keep in mind, he gave me the information that he wanted. He wanted to be a tabaxi. He wanted to be a thief. He gave me a little bit of backstory about how he became a thief. He told me that he likes the King's Search Festival and that he knows he's going to be involved with a patron. He doesn't even know that person's name. And so this is what I wrote for him, and I gave it to him before he came to the very first session. And here's what I wrote. Your introduction to Elder Lady Atlas, often called the Iron Lady or Iron Atlas behind her back, is one you'll never forget. To be quite honest, it still gives you chills thinking about it. You were asleep in your own bed, feeling secure and safe because you had taken great care to keep this safe house, well, safe. To be rudely and quite viciously woken up by 4 very large enforcers with knives at their neck, heart, and forehead is an image that you will never forget. How did you not hear anything? How come your traps meant to warn you remain untriggered? How come there's an elderly lady sitting on a stool at the end of your bed, cordially receiving a hot cup of tea from a maid, like she was at some formal dinner? When she speaks to you, every word she utters is both a question and an accusation. You are Rax. You are a thief. Parents both presumed dead. She continues to speak in this manner, never giving you a chance to argue or even answer. She systematically and unflinchingly reveals every major event in your life. She even somehow knows of the very day that you were inducted into the Thieves Guild. Strangely, she also mentions small acts of kindness that you yourself had forgotten about. She even knows about the day that you stole from the rich noble and used all the money to secretly give to the Church of the Morning Lord to feed and to clothe the orphan children in the city during one brutally cold winter. At the end of her long string of questions and accusations, you feel exhausted, naked, and more than a little traumatized. Her tea, now empty, she places it on the saucer and the maid takes it away. She stands from her stool, looks down at you, still being held at knife point on your bed. Rex, you will work for me as a spy and a secret agent. You will either accept or you will die here in this bed. No matter the choice you make now or in the future, there will never be another option. You watch as she begins to warm something in the fireplace in your room. Not wanting to die, you agree. She removes what you now recognize as a small magical branding iron. She then stabs the brand into your chest. Only you and other members of the secret order can see the brand. Welcome to the Order of the Iron Hammer. Come and see me at the castle in 3 days, and I will give you your first order. She unceremoniously leaves the room, and the enforcers release you. You can now see that each of them has a similar brand on them. Each brand is in a different spot, and each brand is haphazardly applied. Years later, you would be upset that the brand is not even straight on your body, but at a strange angle. Atlas would tell you, it's a tool, not a fashion statement. Science. Mostly invisible. If you were my player, and you got this information, this would help you feel like you're part of the story before you even meet Lady Atlas. As a player, you're going to this location. You're going to receive your orders. But now with all this backstory, additional backstory from your DM, suddenly now you feel a part of the world. And that's what I want. That's what I look for when I'm making a personal backstory. And then in addition to that, because I go overboard, I go into even more history. That was recent history about how she met, or how Rax met his patron, Lady Atlas. Here's a recent history of what happened that day before he even got to the castle. And you can read that if you like, but I'm not going to today. Pause now if you want to. Great job. Moving on. So again, because his backstory didn't have any characters, all it said was his parents were dead, I didn't have to write any names down. On the other hand, like I said before, one of my other players wrote me a backstory, and she gave me a number of names. So I have a little sub-page right here with NPCs, and these are a bunch of different names of people that she wants to have in her adventure that she's out looking for. And so I have it all right here, ready to go, just in case I need it. Other times, I don't necessarily need to have a full page, sub-page for that information. As you can tell, here's my other player, Pavel. He's been with me from day one, and the only person that's really important to him is his sister. So right here at the very top, threw in that information, his backstory, sister's name, Amia. This is great stuff. Again, because OneNote is so easily organized, when a player leaves, for example, my Claudia left, she had some business she had to take care of, all I do is grab her card and move it. And suddenly it's right where it needs to be. Easy, quick, right to the point. So yeah, this takes care of my players. And let's go ahead and look at some other stuff, shall we? Okay, now we're going to go ahead and get into the two last sections of my notes. This one is the overarching campaign, kind of like a table of contents, and my maps. Maps is the easiest one to get to, so I'm going to go to that one first. For me, I have one map. I use my world map, and that's what I stick with. I particularly use a digital map tool. I have a TV that I have, and I use that as my game board. And so I use digital live maps from people on Patreon that I subscribe to, and I'll go into that a little later on in a different video. But for an actual map that's important, that is unique, this is my map. As you can see right here, there's Elderhold. Oh, Elderhold in all of their glory. And they go to all these different places. I'll go into another video about how I created this map. But I use this all the time because my players are currently in Donberry right here. And I need to know what's going on around them because they, as players, could end up going anywhere. And I need to be prepared. I need to know that Goldcrest is here, Bitterthorn is over here, Shield Glare, Scarred Lands, Castle Crown. I need to know the vicinity because my players go to really crazy places at the oddest of times. So this is a fantastic tool. I'll show you more to go on that later on. Here is an example of copying and pasting from that previous site that I was showing you. Just grab it, throw it in here, paste, and then you have it ready to go whenever you need. And you can have this as many times as you need to do these little seed generators. That takes care of maps. Now we're going to go over to the overview. This one here is a real quick reference for me to remember what the different arcs of my story have been thus far. So, for example, my arc 1 was the Great Hunt. That was them going on the hunt for the reason why the elders brought the heroes to the castle to begin with. They were going on the Great Hunt. They were starting off at level 3. They went to level 5 in this adventure. I think it was maybe 5 or 6 episodes. And it was just a trial for everybody to see where we were all at and that kind of stuff. A lot of fun. Wish we would have recorded it. Oh, it was so fantastic. Moving on. The second arc my players decided to go on to was choosing the next Dwarven King. This one was in the place called Barrett Arger that I created. And they went from level 5 to level 8. This is fantastic because, again, this campaign is currently almost at a year and a half. This happened a year and a half ago. I need to remember what happened in that town, and they haven't been there really as players for a year. They haven't been there in a year, at least a year.
I need to remember a lot of information about what happened a year ago. And because of this, I can easily say, oh, that's right. That's where they were. This is what level they were at. Okay, I can run over here and hit on my button that says Elder Hold right here. I'm not going to do it. There's some secrets in there I don't want you to see. But anyways, I can click on my Elder Hold thing. Boom, I'm there. Hunting vampires. Dealing a deal with Dipsum. Dipsum Soul was one of my bad guys. They went and found him in Guildcrest, and they were level 13 when that happened. And right now, currently, they're in Arc 8. Secrets of the Great Merchant. This has taken place so far in the Crux Field. They're currently in Dawnberry. And eventually, they will end up in the Scarred Lands. This is not secrets. They know they're ending up in the Scarred Lands. They just don't have what they need to get to the Scarred Lands quite yet. So, fun stuff. Anyways, great quick reference. Definitely have it if you have some time. Next thing I have is the BBEGs. Big Bad Evil Guys. Right now, my players know that there are 3 big bad evil guys. There's the Great Merchant. There's Dipsum Soul. Because of this, I have different information about each one of these guys in here. And because they're my big bad evil guys, I can't click on the button to show you what those guys look like because they haven't met them really that much. But more information about them is inside these tables. And then here comes my piece de resistance, my world timeline. I'm dealing with lots and lots and lots and lots of dates going on here. This person lived this long. They lived in this rule. They did these specific things. Keeping all the dates clear and organized is very, very important. And because of that, I have this kind of a organization. I can't show you in full because, again, my players haven't seen a lot of this information. But you can see this. This is the year. It's the current year. It's the year of the Child King of Elderhold. Here are my different arcs. I would fill this in with years, as you can see down here on the bottom. I'm going to have to blur that out later. You can't see that either. But anyways, I have dates here that I can have and have a whole timeline of events. That way I can quickly look through this and find the information that I need and make sure that I'm not creating a paradox for myself. How is it I'm meeting this person if they're 5,000 years old? Oh, that's right. That's not a good idea. So this timeline comes in handy quite a bit. I fill this in all the time. Yeah, and that takes care of all of my notes. So I've gone through the Game Master tools, character information, campaign arcs, world maps, and specific locations, including my session notes. All right, so hopefully this has given you some great insights into how to write your own notes. Again, nothing here is in stone. Change what you need to. Whatever makes sense for you, that's the best way to take notes. This just happens to be the best way for me to take notes and to keep myself organized. Anyways, I hope this has been educational and fun for you guys as much as it was for me. And I'll see you guys in the next episode where I go into how to write a campaign, whether that be a small campaign, a medium campaign, or an epic campaign. What are the rules and things like that? So I'll see you guys next time behind the screen.